What's doing, everybody? Welcome to First Class Fatherhood. I'm Alec Lace, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below so you can catch up with all the latest interviews I do with dads from all over the world. Today's interview with Matt Roloff was recorded before the outbreak of the coronavirus hit the mainland here in the United States, so please stick around to the end of today's interview where I had a chance to catch up with Matt Roloff and get an update on how he and his family are weathering the storm. And don't forget to hit the link in the description below to check out all the ways you can enjoy listening to First Class Fatherhood. And let's get going with today's interview. All right, joining me now, First Class Father, Matt Roloff. Welcome back to First Class Fatherhood.
Thank you, Alec.
Listen, it's an honor to have you back here. I know your family has grown since the last time you were on the show here. I know you got the 4 kids, but how many grandkids are you up to now?
I got 4 grandkids. I've been really busy with that, and I must admit, I turn your podcast on all the time to get my own advice about what to do because my grandkids have just kind of exploded. One minute I didn't have any grandkids, and 2 years later I got 4 of them. So I'm leaning on all the advice that you find on your show. I really enjoy hearing everybody's input and kind of angle on take on how to do, be a father, be a grandfather. So I enjoy it. Thank you for putting that out.
Yeah, thanks for that, Matt. And speaking of advice, one thing I think that happens to a lot of us, happened to me, like when you become a parent, like you finally realize or get a better sense of what your parents went through bringing you up. Have you gotten that kind of response for your kids? Are they coming to you for advice now, asking you for help?
That the tables have definitely turned. And so I do feel like my relationship with my kids is stronger than ever before for a lot of those reasons. But I think I'm a much better grandfather than I was a father, just because, you've been through it and you learn and what worked and what doesn't work. And so being a grandparent, it's like getting a second chance at life. And so I'm really enjoying it. I'm a lot better listener than I've ever been in my life, I believe, because I just enjoy hearing the grandkids talk, and I enjoy hearing my my kids talk about, their struggles with the grandkids. I had dinner last night with Zach and Tori and Jackson and Lila, and Grandpa just sat back and smiled the whole time while they, tried to reel in all these, kids, these kids. And it's just a really fun, good and wonderful experience.
Yeah, very cool, Matt. And I know we got the new season of Little People, Big World coming up. You've been doing this for a very long time now. I know you've had some struggles with some storylines and some stuff like that along the way. How was it filming this new season? Have you made any changes or adjustments to the process at all?
Well, you're right. We've been doing this for a long time, like 15 or 16 years. It feels like we've been filming for forever. And, there's been ups and downs. There's no doubt about it. When you're doing something that long, even though it's been the same company, TLC, there's been different executives, we call them regimes. Different regimes have come and gone and come in, and they have different agendas, or different goals for the company. They want their programming to be, more edgy or more this or more that. So we've, ridden through a lot of those different changes. And so sometimes they don't call us and say, hey, we want a bigger bang or a bigger pop on these episodes. The guys the producers that are boots on the ground, start asking, dicier questions. And, but right now we have an amazing team of people. And we, really like them. The episodes that are coming out, I think, are really good. They're full of really juicy content, but at the same time, I think they're fair and they're honest. I have a saying I tell when I have dinner with any of the TLC executives that are, new and coming in. I always say, with the Roloff family, the truth is stranger than fiction. And what I mean by that is, if you just follow the real actual story of what's really happening, going on, you don't need to make anything up. So our favorite seasons have been the ones where they're just following the real life Roloffs and what's happening. And we usually have the most success with the ratings and what people are most interested in, just the actual real live, follow of what's going on with the babies and married and the farm and all that. So that's my motto: truth is stranger than fiction in the Roloff household.
Well, I'll tell you what, Matt, you've had tremendous success with it. You got an audience that's been very engaged with the whole show. And have any of them ever considered using this to kind of maybe have a spin-off, maybe do a reality show of their own?
I think that conversation has gone on, and it goes on, and it happens. And we always kind of fall back on Little People, Big World as our main our main vehicle for telling our story. But I think those discussions about spinoffs and things are happening. But what Little People Big World is just kind of based on the whole family and all the characters. And one thing I learned about reality television is you need a lot of characters, dynamics between characters and what have you to really to draw in the biggest audience as possible. So if you spin off and you just have two, it's usually that you lose people. Some people I watched the show specifically because of Jackson, my grandson. Or I watched the show specifically because I love Amy or I love Chris or Matt, and I wouldn't watch it if this. So I think they just try to keep all the characters intact as best we can. We've lost our kids want to go pursue other opportunities, and we were sad to see them go. But TLC always felt there was enough of a core character base to kind of keep the show going, and it's been as successful as ever. So we got a whole bunch of new episodes coming out here shortly, and we've been working hard on them for the last almost 8 months, so we've been really busy telling our stories and giving everybody an update. So we're looking forward to the new season coming out. And by the way, we're contracted for another season, so we'll be busy doing this for quite a while.
Wow, yeah, that's awesome, Matt. Now, listen, I know it's been quite a while now since your divorce. How have the kids kind of responded to the whole, the divorce and your relationship now with Caryn? And are there any wedding bells in the future for you two?
Well, there's no immediate wedding bells yet, but there are on Amy's side. Amy and Chris have got a wedding planning that they're doing for, I think it's 2021. Caryn and I are kind of waiting to let their excitement play out. But no, there's no wedding bells planned right yet. I hope one day that there are, and probably will be. Caryn and I are very close. We enjoy each other's company and friendship immensely. And we're dating and having fun together and living our best life is what we like to say, and having a great time with the grandkids. Fortunately, my kids seem to really accept Caryn very, very well, that we spend a lot of time together. She's a great sort of circuit. They call her Cha-Cha. And the grandkids love spending time with her, and she loves spending time. I was saying to Caryn the other day, it's so nice that she loves hanging out with my grandkids, because it would be miserable if she's like, do we have to have babysitting duty again, or do we have to hang out with the kids again? But that's quite the opposite. She really looks forward, and she sets up, these encounters where she'll call Jeremy and Audrey, and hey, Matt and I are gonna come over and play games at your house tonight, and we're willing to take the kids tonight, and while you guys go on a date night. So she's very, very active in not just accepting the grandkids, but really setting things up and getting me involved, and say, Matt, you're putting your computer and phone away tonight. You're going to be playing games and reading to the grandkids tonight. That's what you're doing. I'm like, okay, that's what I'm doing. So I appreciate the way she is involved herself and gets me involved.
Yeah, that's good stuff, Matt. Now, listen, I did pick up a copy of your ex-wife's book, getting in preparation for today's interview. And I'm a big reader, and I got to be honest, it was a bit of a chore to get through for me. But I did notice she does throw quite a little bit of shade at you throughout the book. Did you get a chance to read the book, and what was kind of your response to that?
I did get a chance to read the book, I was disappointed. I think probably not disappointed in maybe not what you're thinking. And I didn't think the book was really fair to me. I thought that Amy, the book, for me, knowing her real life story and a lot of the things in between, I thought there was some disingenuous nature to the book, which surprised me, because Amy is a pretty genuine person. Typically, but I think that she left out some pretty major parts of her life that would have thrown a little more balance into the whole story. I think she did throw shade at me. I don't think it was really fair. It was hurtful. It was actually very hurtful, and took me a while to kind of, process it and absorb it. And I wish she wouldn't have left out, parts that I think would have changed people's perspective on our marriage and the reason that our marriage, had troubles and things. So for her to leave out these very, very major, important parts of her life, that certainly, in fact, affected me substantially, and our marriage substantially. I don't think that was fair to herself or to me or to telling her story. So that part of the book. And then, of course, she picked on me, and I understand that, the marriage fell apart. In the end, we grew apart. Amy's a wonderful person. We raised 4 wonderful, amazing kids together. So, I look back at our marriage with a lot of success. I think that we're just trying right now to enjoy the grandkids and the farm and get along.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, Matt. One of the things here about social media age that we're in right now is that a lot of people, they're quick to judge everybody without all the facts. And like you're saying, there's more to the story here. And I know that you have been getting hammered here and there on social media for some of this stuff. And to know that there is more to the story, have you ever considered maybe doing a book of your own and maybe shedding some light on what actually did happen to cause the marriage to fall apart, or is that just not your style?
No, I've done some long soul searching about that. And it's run through in my head some of the things that stories that some truths that I would like to be out there. That may happen one day. I don't know. I haven't ruled it out completely, but after watching Amy's book come out and her perception of the truth, be so sort of misleading, I think that I just decided that it's probably not going to happen for me. I think telling the story through the show is enough for me right now. But I never say never. I haven't ruled it out. Social media is hard. It's hard. I think we've grown. Everybody in the Roloff family has grown really thick skin. We're used to people being really tough on us, and I think they call them trolls or whatever, and they come up with they draw these conclusions, and you just want to like scream and say, if only you knew this, or if only you knew that, or and sometimes it's a little bit of the editing, can throw things off, because when you think about it, they film a show over 8 months, and now they're gonna air that within 8 weeks, so there's a lot of compression, so let's say Amy is and I are arguing about something. Well, we've been getting along for 6 months, and then we have another argument. Well, they throw those 2 arguments into one episode, makes it look like we're always at each other's throats, and it's not quite that way. So just the nature of television really puts out a different impression, and then people speak up on the internet, and we appreciate all of our fans. I mean, we love them. We love the people that are interactive with us, but we also realize that some people, they just get it wrong sometimes.
Yeah, well, listen, I think the way that you've handled it is definitely a true testament to your character, because I know that you have been mistreated a little bit online there with all of this. But I want to switch gears with you here, Matt, because I wanted to ask you last time you were here, I didn't get a chance to, about your trip overseas to Iraq with the military, because I was really fascinated by that story. What was the genesis of that trip, and what was the experience like for you?
That trip, actually, I made 3 trips to Iraq during the kind of the heat of the war, just shortly after the main conflict. And the 3 trips changed my life forever. Just the appreciation for the military guys and what they're doing over there, and my pride for the U.S. and really trying to help other people. The genesis for the trip was a friend of mine that was a helicopter pilot over there, who has a little person daughter, who was on patrol in Baghdad and saw a family that had dwarfism. 3 of the kids, I think it was a family of 5, and there were 3 kids that all had very severe dwarfism. So he called me from Baghdad, from his base, and said, "Hey, can you come over?" And I'm like, on the phone, I'm like, "You're calling from Iraq? There's bombs going off in the background." And I'm like, "And you want me to come over? And what do you want me to do?" And he said, "We got to get these kids medical treatment." So that started a long process, probably took 6 months to get orders from the State Department for me to be able to go over. And I made my first trip over and snuck around in Humvees and MRAPs and guys with machine guns everywhere. And they snuck me to this family's house, and we had contractors pulled out little portable x-ray equipment and got some x-rays. And then once I got the x-rays, I was able to bring those back to the States and line up doctors here. So I got some doctors from the Bay Area, California, and back east in Wisconsin, put a team of an anesthesiologist and some doctors that were willing to go over. They, the governments didn't want the kids to come to the States for their very, complicated surgeries. Instead, they wanted us to go over and train the Iraqi doctors. So I got the doctors up, and we brought them over there and got the Iraqi doctors together and performed these operations. And literally all these kids that had been hit by bombs and they're burnt and had various things, arms that had been amputated but not correctly. Our doctors were able to, do surgery for a couple of days on a whole bunch of kids, not just the little people, but a whole bunch of the kids in the little village that we were in. And then it was a fascinating experience. On my third trip over, I was able to pull the kids back. I was finally able to get their papers. They needed really complicated operations that could only really be done here in the States. So on the third trip, we were able to bring them back to the States and get them the medical treatment that they really needed. So 3 very interesting. That's the short version of it. But it was a harrowing, scary trip, and it gave me immense respect for, you think all the military's over there just bang, bang, shoot them up. No, they're over there really focused on training doctors and getting these people, to stand on their own 2 feet and have the technology. So that push for educational component and for building their communities was really impressive to me. It wasn't just about blowing everybody up. It was really the missions that they pushed me to have were really about getting that community and that country to support themselves and take care of their own people. And that's what impressed me the most.
Yeah, that's incredible, Matt. Yeah, I have nothing but big respect for our military. I bring on a lot of veteran dads come on the show here, and it's so that's awesome that you're able to go over there and make a difference. And another thing that I seen that you had done online, I seen you reach out. I know there was a story about the boy from Australia that was being bullied, and I know you had reached out to him somewhere online. I seen it. You offered him to bring him out to the farm and stuff like that. Did you ever end up connecting with that kid?
I did. I connected with his mother. She was very, very excited because, of course, they watched the Little People Big World show over there. And so we've exchanged several messages. And, I'm really just making sure that she has support, that they know that they're welcome to come to the farm. I think at some point here, they're going to be coming over to the United States, go to Disneyland. I want to make sure that they swing by and give the boy, a real firsthand view of what little people can do and put your heart and minds to it. I built this farm here. And so I want him to know I've been through some of the exact same emotional feelings that he went through or he's going through at 9 years old. I can remember those feelings very precisely. And, I just want to encourage him. So we have been in touch. I hope that we get to meet in person. I hope I can continue to encourage him along the way because that was pretty heartbreaking to see him. And, some people, I think, threw some shade at the mom for, putting out that emotional video, but I really support her. I think she's doing the right thing. She was at wit's end. She's got her young 9-year-old boy who's threatening suicide. She didn't know what else she could do. I don't think she knew that the video was going to go as viral as it did, but good for her to get that out there and be kind of kicking and screaming and doing everything she can to advocate. She's had a long history of advocating for her son. So I'm not only encouraging him, but I really want to encourage her as well. And don't want to allow any mama shaming about some people took kind of sides and some of that. But she's a tiger and she's fighting for her son, and I appreciate that. And I think he's going to do just fine.
Yeah, even though there's so many different pitfalls of social media and the internet age that we live in here, I mean, some of the good things are that people like you can connect with somebody like him just through something like that. So there are some positive sides to it. Let me rein this back into you as a dad here, Matt. Now, I have 4 kids. My youngest is my only girl. She's 5 years old now, and I'm already dreading the age when she's going to hit that dating scene. Your daughter's all grown up. You've been there, done that. What was it like for you when your daughter first started hitting that dating scene? How'd you handle that?
Scary. Yeah, my daughter was an amazing, well, she still is. She's an amazing individual. She's straight A student. She was always focused on her studies. So we like to say that Molly was kind of the parent in the room most of her life. When she was the youngest ever, 2 or 3 years old, she was always the one that really had her act together. So when she got to the dating world, went off to college and started dating. She started dating a little bit later. But found the man she loved and got married and fell in love, got married. And now she lives and works up. We're just waiting for grandkids, from her and Joel up there. And they're up in the Spokane area of Washington. But Molly didn't require much worry. Let me tell you that, because she was so solid. And Amy Grant has a song out, it's called Straight Ahead. And that was what the wedding song, I played for Molly at her wedding, because Molly was just always really straight ahead. So I'd like to take credit for how wonderful of a person that she came out. But unfortunately, I can't take credit. I think she just, well, I guess genetically speaking, maybe, but she was just an amazing person right off the bat, like as of all my kids. And so maybe there's a little credit in there somewhere, but I think my kids, they grew up on this farm and they were exposed to some, both Amy and I just exposed them as many opportunities as possible. And they all turned out to be amazing kids.
Yeah, awesome, Matt. And, I did see on Instagram there you guys had a family trip to Disney. What was that experience like for you to go there with all the kids?
Well, it was, yeah. Disneyland is not for the faint of heart, kind of like reality TV. It's pretty hectic. We brought lots of, disinfectant and stuff, and the kids were a little young. But Tori, my daughter-in-law, is just a Disney fanatic, and so they were going to go regardless. And so Caryn and I said, well, we want to go along and help and babysit. And so I had grandpa duty. Everybody else went on the rides watching the little one. We had a 2-month-old at the time, but everybody came through it and had a great time. Jackson, got to meet his hero, Buzz Lightyear. And it was just really a wonderful, wonderful experience. It's a week away down at Disney. You can't help but have fun at Disneyland and ride the new, Star Wars ride. It was a really, really good experience. And I was glad Tori pushed it to when Tori and my daughter-in-law first mentioned she wanted to take the 2-year-old and the 2-month-year-old, we kind of raised our eyebrows a little bit. But Tori, moms have a motherly instinct that sometimes is better than grandpa's instinct. And so we went with it, had a ball, had a great time. The kids had a great time, and we've got pictures to prove it.
Yeah, I did enjoy seeing some of the pictures you threw up there on Instagram. What's next for you here, Matt? I mean, I know you said you contracted for, you have this season, another season. Have you considered, you have any kind of goals for life beyond the show?
Well, I have a house in Arizona, so I really, really enjoy this kind of balance I'm creating in my life with Caryn and I. We go down to Arizona and we hang out and we enjoy the sunshine down there. But up here in Oregon, I am, we're going to be doing a pumpkin season again. That's you actually, Alex, the first to officially know it. We're getting ready to announce that, people always assume that we're going to do pumpkin season over and over again every year. But every year we have to, as a family, really stand back and evaluate it and look at it and the cost and the effort and kind of, we meet as a family, all my kids and and Amy, we get together and we kind of up and down vote on it. And we just recently did a meeting where we're going to go ahead with the 2020 pumpkin season. So I will be here in Oregon a lot, getting ready for that with my team of people here at the farm. But probably my most fun new project is I'm building a house. So I'm in the design stages. I want to break ground on it hopefully this year. A house that's accessible for me. Everybody's probably wondering why you're staying in Amy's house that she's moving out of. I want to build a different house. I want to build a little bit smaller and leave that for one of the kids. Hopefully we'll take it over. Once Amy finally moves out, she's talked about moving out for a while, but she still has her things over there. And so as soon as she's out, we're going to stand back and kind of evaluate what to do with that house. Meanwhile, I'm going to start building a new house here on another part of the farm that's kind of on the other side of the property. So I'm excited about that.
Wow, yeah, very cool. Always busy there, Matt. And you know what? Last thing I want to hit you with here, I usually ask all the guests that come on the podcast here. This is your second go around, so I'll see what you got for us this time. What type of advice do you have for the new dad or for that about-to-be father that's out there listening?
I knew you were going to ask that, and I'll tell you what, this is the part of the podcast that I always go to. All your other podcasts, all your other guests, I always go to the part, where's their advice? Where's their advice? And I always say, boy, I don't really have any advice. But here, Alex, that's a great premise for your podcast. I really, really enjoy that. So I thank you again for doing it. It's to listen. It's to become a good listener, listen to your kids, and to be present. I feel like when I was a father, I missed some really important moments because I was busy, providing for the family and, keeping the household afloat and doing the maintenance and things. But now I really, with the grandkids, I'm really getting a second chance to be a better listener, to sit down and play games and have special moments, and the little grandkids, if they're in swim lessons, I want to be there watching the swim lesson and sharing that experience. So I think just being really present and Also, the back of a phone. Snap a few pictures, but don't have your kids grow up with the backside of a phone. You don't enjoy. You're not present. You're not enjoying the moment. So snap a few pictures. I like to do that too for Instagram and social media. But then put your phone down. Really put it down when you're together. Last night I was with my kids. Never brought the phones out. No pictures were taken. And so I left that, dinner thinking, that's good. We really got to engage. And you don't have a memory of the moment in your camera, but you have a better memory in your heart and your mind. So put your phones down. So listen, be engaged, be present, and put your phone down. That's my advice.
Very well said, Matt. I love the advice. It's an honor to have you back on the show. You're a first-class father all the way, and thank you so much for giving me a few minutes of your time on First Class Fatherhood.
Thank you, Alex. Keep doing what you're doing. I really love your podcast.
All right, and as promised, for those of you who stuck around till the end here, I am once again joined by Matt Roloff to get an update on how he and Caryn and the family are weathering the storm of the coronavirus, which has swept the nation since the last time we spoke. Matt, thank you once again for joining me here, and please hit the listeners with a little update on how you guys are doing.
Well, thank you again, Alex, for having me. I appreciate you checking in with me to make sure everybody in our family is safe and healthy so far. Caryn and I are down here at our Arizona home, sequestered. We're sheltering in place following all the guidelines that they've put out, and we're not going out at all. We're just really staying in, and so is the family. Up in Oregon is all doing very well. We're doing a lot of FaceTiming and making sure we're checking in with them multiple times every day, and everybody is following the rules and kind of keeping to themselves, and we all have enough supplies, so we're going to stay here in Oregon until we're allowed to go home, and then we'll try to work our way back to the farm. We canceled some social events we've had down here so that we can stay by ourselves, but kids are safe, everybody's safe. I'm just worried about, all the folks in the world that are less fortunate and that are sick and ill, and I'm wishing everybody the very, very best and just wishing everybody to be well and stay safe.
Yeah, well said, Matt. One of the best things we could use right now is some fresh episodes of Little People, Big World to kind of help take us away from the news that's been just overrun by news of the coronavirus. Are you guys still on course here? Are you still scheduled to drop the new episode starting March 31st?
Well, from what we hear so far, I was on the phone with the producers last week, and it sounds like everything is still on course. We were fortunately we were in a 3-week hiatus when all this kind of went down, and so we were taking a break, and we just had a few final touches to put on a few episodes. So from what we hear, the premiere is going to go forward, and we may do those finishing touches from audio bites or what have you. But so far, it all looks good. But anything can change. It's a very fluid situation out there, as everybody knows. But we're looking forward to coming into your living room, so you don't have to go out. You can just stay put and watch the Roloff family and get an update on how we're doing in the farm and everybody in the family.
Awesome, Matt, and I can't wait to check those out myself. It's been such an honor to have you back here on the podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you guys stay safe, stay healthy out there, and I hope to have you back on the podcast once again next year.
Thank you, Alex. You too. Stay safe with your family as well.